I have two random things to talk about. Thing one, the Disney Channel has really changed because now they take commercial breaks, and even if they don't show commercials necessarily, they show ads for the other things that are on Disney Channel. In the 80s and the early 90s, when I was growing up, the Disney Channel was all Disney cartoons, like Disney movies or original Disney cartoons. Like, they would show I don't think they're called Merry Melodies, they're called something else, but they were like the little animated shorts with Mickey or Goofy or whatever, and they would maybe sometimes show those in between the movies. But they would show actual Disney movies like Dumbo. I used to see all the time Aristocats, Fox and the Hound, and then a Goofy movie. I remember in 1995, I think is when that came out. It was on the Disney Channel constantly, and I used to watch it every single time it was on. I saw a Goofy movie probably the most of any other movie on the Disney Channel. How many cups of sugar does it take to get to the moon? Everything was Disney. No live action. None of those shows that they have now. Like, I can't even name most of the shows they have. Wizards of Waverly Place? Something like that. We didn't have that when I was a kid. It was all... I'm so old. It was all, like, Disney cartoon, Disney movies. I don't like live-action things interfering with cartoon channels. It might make me weird, but, like, I turned on Cartoon Network the other week, and there was a live-action show, and I started crying. What? No! This is Cartoon Network! Cartoon Network! I'm losing my light. But it's driving me crazy, because I mean, I'm not trying to rant, and I'm not one of those people who's stuck in the past and like, oh, things must always stay exactly the same. Later in the 90s, I think it was like 1999 when the internet was starting to get big, really big, like, Disney decided it would be great. And around this time on Disney, they had things like Growing Pains and stuff, so they were starting to show classic live-action ABC type shows. I had a crush on Kirk Cameron for like a year. They had Zoog Disney, and it was funny because it was when the internet was just starting, and there were like these little weird characters. But they had these little Zoog characters, and you'd go online because the internet was all new and fancy, and everybody still had dial-up, or at least most people who were not rich still had dial-up. And so you'd go on, and you had to get Flash, and I remember having to ask my parents if I could download Flash onto our old computer. And it was so slow, but like these little characters would float around and you'd like answer questions. I remember answering some questions about Growing Pains. The last few times I've watched Disney Channel, the only cartoon I've seen is Phineas and Ferb. And don't get me wrong, I love Phineas and Ferb. But what happened to the cartoons? Most of the movies they show on that channel now are live action, and most of them are live action made for the Disney Channel. Thing two. This is two fingers. This weekend, my parents and I are going to see Follies by Stephen Sondheim. Bernadette Peters is in it, and Elaine Paige is in it. And I'm really excited because I've loved Bernadette Peters since she was Rita on Animaniacs, speaking of children in cartoons. And Elaine Paige was in Cats, which is pretty cool, but also, she was in Chess. She was the original Florence in Chess. We're going to see Florence. So I'm really excited. We're going to see Les Miserables in November, I think? And I was in Les Miserables when I was in high school, which I've talked about on this channel before. Not to keep talking about the same things. I was in Les Mis, and I remember backstage sitting on Fantine's deathbed, putting my makeup on, because I was a whore. And so, like, the deathbed was backstage ready to go because Fantine was gonna die. Not to, like, spoil you or anything, but this play has been around for a really long time, and the book has been around since the 1800s. Put in all my horror makeup on to go out on stage, and I accidentally poked the mascara wand directly into my eye. Not like just doing this and then accidentally getting it in my eye. It went like this into my eye. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was backstage so I couldn't curse, which was frustrating. I had black in my eye, and I was crying, and my eye was all red, besides the black. And then I had to go on, so that one night I was the one whore who was like singing and doing this the whole time. Today I went to the store, and everybody was looking at me, and I was like, oh, people have noticed I've spruced up a little bit. And then I looked at myself in the mirror right before filming, and look at what my hair has right now. But you can't really play up something like that because I didn't know what they were looking at, and it looks like I'm trying to grow an antenna or something. I know it's not that bad, but everybody was seriously looking at me, and I was just like, hi! In my defense, I put my hair up right before I left. I just kind of put it up and went. So I need to maybe not do that. If I'm gonna care about my appearance, I should look at my appearance.